Hey there, I'm Galina. I'm 28, and I've got this wild knack for transforming spaces into something magical. Interior design isn't just my career, it's my passion. Give me a drab room, and I'll turn it into something that looks like it's straight out of a glossy magazine spread. And let me tell you, there's nothing quite like the feeling when the vision comes to life. My life felt like the perfect design. Everything in its place, stylish and under control. I had an incredible fiancé, Mark. He's an engineer, brilliant and not to mention, adorable. We were in the middle of planning our wedding. And let me tell you, Pinterest had nothing on our ideas. Babe, what do you think about a rustic chic theme? I asked one night, flipping through our mood board. Mark grinned, pulling me closer. As long as I get to marry you, you could go with dumpster chic, and I'd still be happy. That was Mark, always supportive, always making me laugh. Work was amazing too. I just scored a huge project redesigning the Starlight Hotel, a super chic spot downtown that was ready for a total overhaul. My best friend and partner in design, Tara, practically screamed when I told her. Do you have any idea what this could do for your career? She squealed, practically bouncing out of her chair. You're going to be the next Victoria. Ah, Victoria. She was my mentor and the queen of interior design. Straight out of college, she took me under her wing, teaching me everything. I owe her so much. Galina, darling, she'd say in that elegant accent of hers, you've got an eye for beauty. Now, let's make sure the world sees it. But not everyone was so thrilled about my success. My cousin Carla, for example, always had a competitive streak. Every family gathering, there she was with her plaster-on smile. Oh, Galina, she'd say, voice dripping with fake sweetness, still playing with dollhouses, are we? I'd bite my tongue, reminding myself that success is the best revenge. Then there was Uncle Robert, a big-shot real estate developer always talking deals and making moves. Lately, he'd been showing a lot of interest in Mark. Mark, my boy, he'd boom, clapping Mark on the back. We should talk business sometime. I could use someone with a sharp mind like yours. At the time, I didn't think much of it. I was too busy living the dream. My career was taking off, and I was planning the wedding of my dreams. Life was perfect. One night, Mark and I were curled up on the couch, flipping through wedding magazines. I couldn't help but feel like I was living a fantasy. You know, I said, snuggling closer, I never thought I'd have all this. A great career, an amazing fiancé. Mark kissed the top of my head. You deserve it all, G, and more. Little did I know, my perfectly designed life was about to undergo a major, unwanted renovation. But that's life, right? Sometimes you've got to tear everything down before you can rebuild something even better. The Starlight Hotel project quickly became my entire world. I was pulling 12-hour days, sometimes more, with my design board covered in fabric swatches, paint samples, and sketches. Exhausting? Yes. Exciting? Absolutely. Galina, darling, remember to breathe, Victoria reminded me during one of our calls. The hotel isn't going anywhere. I laughed it off. I'll sleep when I'm dead, Vic, or at least when this project is finished. But while I was crafting my masterpiece, my personal life was starting to fall apart. Mark was acting distant, spending more and more time with Uncle Robert. He'd come home late, reeking of expensive cigars and whiskey. How was your day? I'd ask bleary-eyed after hours of staring at blueprints. Fine, he'd mumble, barely looking up from his phone. Just business stuff with Robert, you wouldn't understand. I tried to brush it off. We were both busy, right? It was just a phase. But then I started noticing other things, like how Carla was suddenly showing up at every family dinner, always finding a reason to sit next to Mark. Oh, Mark, you're so funny, she giggled, touching his arm in a way that made my skin crawl. I confided in Tara over coffee one day. Am I imagining things, or is something off? I asked, stirring my latte anxiously. Tara frowned, setting down her spoon. Honey, I think you need to talk to Mark. Communication is key, remember? I nodded, determined to fix things every time I tried to talk to Mark. Something always seemed to come up. A late meeting, drinks with Robert, or some sudden work emergency. Then came the night that shattered everything. I had wrapped up early at the hotel site and decided to surprise Mark with dinner. As I walked into La Bella, our favorite Italian restaurant, my heart stopped. There, in a cozy corner booth, were Mark and Carla, laughing and holding hands across the table. I stood frozen, my world tilting as I watched Mark lean in and kiss her. I must have made a sound because suddenly they both looked up, their faces painted with shock. Under different circumstances, it might have been comical, but at that moment I was dying inside. Galina. Mark jumped to his feet, his face pale. This isn't. But it was, so clearly it was. I don't even remember leaving the restaurant. The next thing I knew, I was home, with Mark pounding on the door, begging me to let him explain. Explain what exactly? My voice was ice. Mark's shoulders slumped. I'm so sorry, Jill. I never meant for this to happen. It's just you've been so busy, and Carla, she understands me. You what? I spat, fury coursing through me. You fell in love while I was working my ass off to build a future for us. It's not like that, he protested weakly. Robert's been showing me all these amazing business opportunities, and Carla's been helping. I held up my hand, unable to bear another word. Get out. Galina, please. I said, get out. I screamed, grabbing the nearest object, a vase he'd given me, and hurled it against the wall. It shattered spectacularly, and with it, my life. Mark hesitated for a moment before leaving. As the door clicked shut, I sank to the floor, surrounded by broken glass and broken dreams. How had everything fallen apart so fast? What had I done wrong? I don't know how long I sat there, tears streaming down my face. Finally, I reached for my phone with trembling hands and dialed Tara. Tara, I choked out when she answered, can you come over? I need you. When Tara arrived, I was still sitting in the wreckage of my perfect life, unsure how to even begin piecing it back together. The next few weeks passed in a blur of fabric swatches and paint samples. I threw myself into the Starlight Hotel project, working insane hours, anything to keep my mind off everything that had happened. Galina, you can't keep this up, Tara said one night, forcibly pulling me away from my desk. You need to deal with what happened. I sighed, running a hand through my messy hair. What's there to deal with? My fiancé left me for my cousin. End of story. But Tara and Victoria weren't letting it go that easily. They tag-teamed me, urging me to think about what really happened. Something doesn't add up, Victoria mused. Mark's change was too sudden. And Robert's involvement. We started digging, and it wasn't easy. But between Victoria's connections and Tara's talent for social media sleuthing, we uncovered a web of lies that made my head spin. Look at this, Tara said, pointing to her laptop screen. All of Robert's recent projects are failing. He's desperate for cash. Suddenly, everything clicked. Robert's interest in Mark, the late-night business meetings, Carla's constant presence. He's using them. I realized, my stomach turning. He's promising Mark some huge break and using Carla to sweeten the deal. But we needed proof. That's when I came up with a plan. Crazy, but just crazy enough to work. Tara, I said, a glimmer of my old fire returning, I need you to leak some info. Make it look like you've got an inside scoop on a massive development deal. Something irresistible. Tara grinned, cracking her knuckles. Oh honey, leave it to me. I'll make it so juicy they'll be drooling. We crafted the perfect bait. A fake luxury condo project with the promise of sky-high returns. Tara accidentally let it slip at a family gathering, making sure Mark and Carla overheard. It worked like a charm. Within days, Mark was calling, trying to wheedle information out of me. Come on, G, he cajoled. For old time's sake, this could be my big break. I played dumb, pretending I didn't know I was being manipulated. Meanwhile, I documented everything, every call, every text, every chance encounter engineered by Robert. The clincher came when I accidentally left some fake blueprints in my car. Mark and Carla took the bait. Hook, line, and sinker. They've invested everything, Tara reported, her eyes wide. And I mean everything. They even took out loans. I should have felt triumphant. Instead, I just felt tired. What about Robert? Victoria asked, her eyes gleaming with anticipation. Oh, darling, she said with a sly smile, Robert's in so deep he can't see daylight. He's betting it all on this fake project. As I looked at the mountain of evidence we gathered, fake contracts, recorded conversations, bank statements, I felt a strange mix of satisfaction and sadness. You know, I said quietly, part of me hoped we were wrong. That there was some explanation that didn't involve Mark being this. Tara squeezed my hand. I know, hun. But you deserve better than someone who could be manipulated like this, Tara said gently. I nodded, feeling the weight of truth in her words. You're right. I squared my shoulders, determination replacing the hurt. So, what's our next move? Victoria's smile was sharp, her eyes gleaming with a predatory spark. Now, my dear, we wait. Let them dig themselves in deeper, and when the time is right, we pull the rug out from under them. A fierce sense of justice surged through me. As I looked at my friends, my real support system, I realized something important. My perfect life may have shattered, but from the pieces, I was building something stronger, something unbreakable. Ladies, I said, raising my glass of wine, here's to Karma. May she be swift, merciless, and wearing killer heels. We clinked glasses, laughing for the first time in what felt like forever. For the first time in weeks, I felt like myself again. Watch out, world, Felina 2.0 was on her way, and she wasn't taking prisoners. The day of reckoning came faster than any of us expected. One minute, Uncle Robert was bragging about his latest sure-thing investment. The next, his empire was crumbling like a sandcastle at high tide. I was putting the finishing touches on the Starlight Hotel's grand ballroom when Tara burst in, waving her phone. Jel, you're not going to believe this. Robert's company just filed for bankruptcy. It was like watching dominoes fall. Robert's string of bad investments, combined with the non-existent project that Mark and Carla had thrown all their money into, spelled financial disaster for the entire lot of them. I didn't have to wait long for the fallout. Mark showed up at my door, looking like he hadn't slept in days. Felina, please, he begged, his eyes bloodshot. I've lost everything, the money, my job. Carla left me. I need your help. I looked at him, the man I once thought I'd spend my life with, and felt nothing. No, I said simply. His face crumpled in disbelief. But we were going to get married. Doesn't that mean anything? I laughed, but it was hollow, empty of any humor. It meant everything to me, Mark. But clearly, it didn't mean enough to you. I know all about Robert's manipulation and how you and Carla fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker. The color drained from his face. You knew? I knew. I crossed my arms, feeling stronger than I had in months. I know everything. Now get out. As I closed the door on his stunned face, a weight lifted off my shoulders. The burden of what might have been was gone, and I felt lighter, freer. The next day, I made an anonymous call to the financial regulators, tipping them off about Robert's fraudulent practices. It was the final nail in his coffin. Meanwhile, the Starlight Hotel project was a smash hit. The grand opening was a who's who of the design world, and I was the star of the show. At the after-party, Victoria hugged me tightly. Darling, you've outdone yourself. This is just the beginning for you. She was right, riding the wave of success. Tara and I decided to start our own firm. Designs by G&T was born, and we hit the ground running. 1 year later, I stood in our sleek downtown office, looking out over the city. Our firm had a waiting list a mile long, full of high-profile clients eager for our touch. Tara waltzed in, coffee in hand. Guess who I just saw slinging lats at the corner cafe? She asked, grinning. Carla. Oh, how the mighty have fallen, I said, shaking my head, smiling. Let it go, T. We've got bigger fish to fry. And we did. We were already planning our international expansion, with potential offices in London and Tokyo. As for the others, last I heard, Uncle Robert was facing a slew of legal troubles, his business empire dismantled. Mark was struggling to find work, his reputation in tatters. They were all persona non grata at family gatherings now. Sometimes late at night, I'd think about how different my life could have been if things had worked out the way I once imagined. But then I'd look at everything I'd accomplished, the strength I found in myself, and I knew I wouldn't change a thing. Hey, boss lady, Tara called, snapping me out of my thoughts. The clients for the Dubai project are here, ready to wow them. I grinned, straightening my designer blazer. Born ready, T, let's show them what we've got. As we walked into the conference room, I felt a surge of pride and excitement. The pain of betrayal, that was old news. I had a world to design, and nothing was going to hold me back. Ladies and gentlemen, I said, my voice strong and confident, let me show you the future of luxury living.